Very important question, rent or buy?
The mind says rent, the heart says buy.
The Gen Zs or the millennials who don't want to buy a house because for them it makes sense.
You just have to wait till they get married.
But
We are evolving, we are going more and more lazy, and we are putting every piece to tech. I don't remember last when I took my wallet. My phone's my wallet. People don't want to go to restaurants. People want to actually order food home. So, which is why these companies are growing. A Swiggy will require a contact point, go down, or a dark house.
a dark house.
I have a theory, you have to plan for 36 hours in a 24-hour day, because invariably someone's running late, someone postpones, someone cancels. Someone bought a home which was not as expensive as the cost of the interior. We are all on the loop of YOLO.
You only live once.
This whole concept of saving is going out. Today's home buyer is very prudent. So he knows who the developer is, he knows the strength, the past track record, how much million square foot that person has executed. People are now buying a product, they are buying a home, they are not buying a house, they are not buying 4 walls.
You're buying a lifestyle?
They are buying a lifestyle.
Welcome to the 4th episode of the Hashtag Show. For the last 3 episodes, we've been hosting leaders from the real estate industry, from the investment industry, from the education industry. Today, we have with us a person, a friend, who has all these 3 aspects rolled into one. Dr. Advocate Harshul Savla, who's a real estate developer, who's an author, who has been going on, I don't know how many podcasts today will be, knowing that he has been on various podcast shows. He has been on the radio channel. He holds a very important designation in CREDAI, which is our national association, where he's the chairman of the research and statistics, highly educated. He's got a doctorate, who has done, I don't know how many degrees. You have 2 degrees, right? 3 degrees.
6
degrees, authored 19 books. I think he's going to go on and on in terms of his achievements. At a very young age, 35, 36, welcome, Dr. Advocate Harshul Savla. For me, you will and remain Harshul. Thanks
Absolutely.
for coming to this podcast.
Thanks a lot, Sangeet.
So Harshul, very simply, all of us want to know that. I think this is a question which all of you would have asked also. How do you get time to author 19 books, to be the chairman of the statistics and research of national, if I am not mistaken, CREDAI, which is again a lot of responsibilities because you come out with a lot of research, a lot of reports. You do development. You have already done 2 million square feet of development. You have projects which are already in pipeline. Whatever I know about you, you ensure that all the nitty-gritty things, including approvals, are being done by you. You don't have a licensing agent or anybody else. Everything has been done in-house. You have your legal, everything is in-house. You're a lawyer yourself. So how do you manage in terms of doing all this? And also important, you're a father of a young baby. So
Absolutely.
How do you have time for work and for play?
Thanks, Sangeet. I was fortunate to join a platform which is 2nd generation old. So, in terms of our associates, the people we work with, the relations are decades old. So, a lot of time what happens with the 1st generation entrepreneur is more so his working life goes in setting up that platform. So, in a way, I consider myself fortunate, enough that, that's been there as a backup. Second, I think pandemic came in as a blessing in disguise. So,
not for too many, for you, yeah, for you.
I think overall, people got to follow their passion in the pandemic, because everyone's for a lot of people, gardening came out. For a lot of people, cooking, came out as a passion and as a necessity. For me, it was the author in me actually came to work during the pandemic. So I think that period while I was at the farms proved to be very futile and very useful for me. And it is during that period that I conceptualized most of these titles. Also, I would give a lot of credit to my readers who encouraged me to pull out more titles. So I used to always put out blogs on Gram asking for what content people want to read, and I would get suggestions from them. So most of the 19 books that you see over
All
here,
are here, 19 books
all
right
of
there.
them, yeah.
Yeah, we have multiple sections, but one entire shelf is of Harshul's book,
Absolutely.
19
So
books. Yeah.
all these titles, in fact, are being recommended by the readers only. So they say in MBA that you should listen to your customers. So in which case here it's the readers who suggested. So I think pandemic gave me the time really. Also, me having done formally a PhD, so the art of creating content came quite natural. I also hold a master's in management as well as law. So in a way, all of that flew
So the
into the books.
education did make a difference.
Did matter. I mean, it did make a difference when it comes to penning your thoughts down. Otherwise, more often than not, it's there in the mind for most of us because real estate is a very skill-oriented industry. But putting it on paper is where most struggle. So that, in a way, came natural to me. In terms of business, yeah, I prefer to be very hands-on. We do a lot of boutique projects. We operate in the luxury segment, and it can go both ways. So if you're not very hands-on, the setback can also go really deep. So which is where, when it comes to approvals, design, all elements of the project, I pretty much I am hands-on. I have a theory: you have to plan for 36 hours in a 24-hour day, because invariably someone's running late, someone postpones, someone cancels. So if you really want to make the most of your day, plan for 36 hours and not for 24 hours, and then the time you make it. Also, I'm not a very social person when it comes at a personal level. So yeah, with business, I am extremely social. But
I think you are just like me. We are active everywhere,
absolutely,
but only for business.
only for business.
So you will not find us in any of the parties
Oh,
and
no.
all.
So
We are at all our
I
Kadai events, Redco events, seminars.
absolutely. So
That
I'm
consumes all our time.
absolutely. So in fact, to a point, I feel my body starts getting temperature as soon as a family event is said, and I start getting unwell to a point. So I believe that those social events which I don't go to, and that makes up for a lot of time. Otherwise, a lot of people spend time in the family dues. But yeah, after the little ones come, I've sort of gotten more busy with the father duties, although the mother's doing most of the heavy lifting around there. But yeah, it does make
I think
a lot of difference.
being a father, being a parent it's a new it's a fun.
It's a project in itself.
It's a project. It's a different experience altogether.
It's another level. I mean, you feel like you could have done 10 PhDs, but raising a kid is
And
another ball game.
right. And again, I've come to your house, friends. We are known for each other for more than half a decade. I've been a part of his family celebrations, right from when the baby her daughter was born and she's
Absolutely.
growing up. I've been to all his events. So he's like a family, extended family. I want to touch about this now, that though you're not able to give time to social events, but you're a very family person. You
Absolutely.
come from I've had enough of your engage with your family, your mother, your father. How important, you just now said that as a second generation, a platform was there. How important now do you find, where we have this more of nuclear family, how important is a role of a father, a mother, now a mother-in-law as to your wife, Disha, and as a grandmother to your daughter? How important do you think is this in a family right now?
So I think if the home front is managed, your mind is that much free to fight it out on the professional front. And I feel it's very important because there is a lot, honestly, which we don't realize at a personal level, but which is taken care of pretty well. It's only, as they say, there's a Herzberg theory, which I had learned in management, that there are certain factors which you realize only when they are missing. So far as they are there, you would never appreciate those. So I think family is one of those important factor which really, so whatever I achieve, I think a lot is because most of the things are taken care at home, and which includes being part of a family business, because at times when it's teamwork, right? There are certain elements I can't match up to, and which is where uncle would step in or mom would step in, and their inputs are extremely valuable. So what we see is the final result, but the work is actually, the tangible is seen from the office, but the intangible is actually what comes from the home. And that's so very important, especially mental health perspective. And real estate can get nerve-wracking. It's really a test of patience. I think every developer should be awarded a PhD, because if he can manage a real estate project and deliver a OC,
the resilience required.
The resilience, the perseverance, the mental strength, the ability to remain flexible, to not lose your cool. I think it's just too demanding mentally, this particular profession, and it really tests you as an Iron Man. So I think every developer in a way is an Iron Man. Every real estate professional is an Iron Man to that extent.
Very interesting. So when we started the conversation, I spoke about that you listen to your readers, right? Which is the consumer. What do you think is the change? The earlier, we can divide this conversation into a pre-RERA and a post-RERA. And then you've authored a book on that. So let's take this perspective, this conversation from a pre-RERA point of view, and we will speak about real estate, about investments.
I think there's this whole image about a developer that there'd be some bald guy, pot-bellied, golden chain clad,
white shirt, white pant,
and he would have in one hand some politician, and in the other hand the goons, and that's how he moves with bodyguards. And I think that's the image media's created.
That was more of the producer than the film which was made.
Absolutely, and that is how if there's a character of a developer
in the film
or the OTT, they show him as a shark who's out there to really defraud or cheat. So I think that's the legacy issue, and media's taken it to another proportion altogether. They love to blow it out of proportion and exaggerate. So I don't deny that some of these elements were there, but
they were there.
Let's
be honest about it.
They were there. But what has happened is real estate is saddled with a legacy issue. So that imagery will take time, or is rather taking time to move out. But I really say, and I like what you pointed out, that the era post RERA. So RERA is really that metaphor you can consider of change, and that really has brought forth the change. If you see today, there are industrialists who are investing into real estate. So had this not been a transparent professional industry, you would not see the white collar money.
And actually that's where the opportunity was. That's where the Godrej and the Mahindra of the world and the Tatas realized.
Absolutely. I mean, they were there in all the industries, but they were not coming to real estate. But if you notice, after RERA, almost all the new entrants are some or the other big corporate house, big family office, or industrialist who are stepping in. So which means now real estate is no more an unorganized, asymmetrical, no information exchange kind of a business, but it's a very transparent, professional business like an industry. So I would compare it to a factory, just that the location keeps changing. So you set up, you buy a land, you set up your factory,
like a startup,
build a product. Absolutely.
It's one startup, one project, one film, one project, and you move to the next location.
Move to the next one. So, and I think all the stakeholders have also evolved. So, from a broker to a consultant. I think that itself captures
To a
the
channel
journey.
partner.
To a channel partner, business accelerator. So I think that captures the sentiment. Earlier the role was only making the client meet. Today it's a very consultative and educative approach, which is being taken even to sell real estate. So I think if you see, there's been a sea of a change, even when it comes to the channel partners which are involved. If you look at the banking system, I mean, we had our share of bad loans which happened, private equity money getting misused, and that era was there. And now you have disciplined money. In fact, developers are saying no to debt. They are going public more and more, and going public is not easy. I mean, you have to have absolute transparent books.
So at one point of time, Harshul, real estate was not even, we're still not an industry. So from a business perspective, to be listed was something which was people were concerned about. And
Absolutely.
developers didn't want to do that. But of late, there are a number of developers who are now getting listed. So what is your take on these developers getting listed? Is it good for the industry?
So, 2, 3 things. Right now, of course, the markets are on steroids. So, to be very fair, even a dealership can get a 3000x multiplier. So, I wouldn't judge by today's market, but overall, if you see, we now have the option of listing a project, which is REITs, vis-a-vis listing your business. So, I mean, you earlier had only one option: go to the big board and list your business. But you do have an option of listing your project, and which offers a lot of flexibility, because then you don't have to get into listing your entire setup, your entire business. I think listing a project is far more flexible. You have the new SME REITs which are coming, so you could even list a few floors of your if it's a tier 1 city building, you could list a few floors.
So your value has to be 50 crores plus.
50 to 500.
That's the window.
Absolutely. So 50 to 500 is a very sweet spot. I mean, today you could have a floor plate of a commercial building worth 50 crores. So you could list.
So that means you can list at one floor itself.
Absolutely, you could list.
So you have a tower of, say, or you have a building of, say, 1 million square feet hypothetically.
Absolutely.
And out of that, whatever the value is, you can still a fraction of that entire building
100%.
can be take the
100%.
IPO route through REITs.
Compare it to mutual funds. For example, say you have a technology mutual fund, and the fund manager decides he wants to put equity only into technology funds. So similarly, you are saying that out of 10 floors, I want to list 3 floors. The important part is the value has to be
50 crores.
50 crores and above.
And
right?
I think the building has to be completed.
And
revenue
generating. So now you have the option of listing a floor. You have an option of listing a project. You have an option of listing on the SME board. SME board.
Not the main board. Not the BSE.
Yeah, like the small board, SME board.
SME board,
which is specially made for SMEs and MSMEs.
So developers are listing
exactly
their ventures, companies there.
The relatively smaller developers or family offices are preferring the SME boards. And then you have the fourth option of going the main board. I think within listing now you have 4 options.
Oh, they're very interesting now.
Yeah, absolutely. This explains the depth that the capital market is providing to real estate.
Now, is this happening because of so-called, we're cleaning up? I don't know whether we still have zero cash, but yes, we've reduced cash. So we are building, there's a lot of capital. So there's clean capital, there's white capital, taxable capital, institutional capital, all getting absorbed by real estate. Is this making that big change, so that because all your projects are, transparent, you have to be transparent, there is RERA, you want to collect money from the institutional investor, from the bank, or you want to go to the retail investor through REITs or to fractional ownership. Does all these things also make an impact now? Is this the reason why we are cleaning up all our,
I think
the business is getting cleaned up?
So last 10 years, you've seen a lot of structural reforms that has been brought forth by the government. So of course, there was RERA, there was GST, there are stipulations under RERA which makes it more and more stringent by the day. You have customers who are much more aware, using social media. Today, a brand can be made in a week, or it can be destroyed in a week. The reviews are freely available. You have data analytics. You have companies like CRE Matrix, Prop Equity, Lysis, Forest.
A lot of information is being.
The information flow is available to the developer, to the channel partner, to the home buyer. So today every segment has information available. So today the bankers, have a free flowing information in terms of CIBIL. So even if you've taken 1-2 crore facility and defaulted, it immediately gets reflected and you are blacklisted from the system. So I think the governance and compliance has really shot up when it comes to real estate sector. And as a reflection of that, you see capital coming in. So capital will come to any business if the governance and transparency and professionalism is high. Now, with regards to cash, I mean, there are two views. One is, of course, people are going more and more for valuation. And you can only get valuation if you are not dealing in cash, because
that's
of course. So the whole game is now top line and not bottom line only. So the game has
also
acceptance.
Changed. So a vendor also is prepared to take my check.
Absolutely.
Whether he's a painter.
Because even he wants a valuation.
Even he wants a.
Today a pipe company is worth 8,000 crores.
Correct.
Today a paint company is worth 10,000 crores. So I mean, they also want the numbers.
They want numbers, and if you look at the consolidation happening, not just in real estate industry, even we have the paint companies and the other companies, they are also buying out the other company and they are also growing because there's a demand.
Absolutely.
We have so much of construction happening. You require so much of steel, paint, cement. So there is a lot of restructuring happening in the ancillary industries also.
Absolutely. So
one cement company is buying the other cement company.
Absolutely. And they all want to grow. They all are going public. So there are 250 ancillary industries which work with a real estate
250.
Project. Yeah. And these companies also have a lot of listed players, right? So if you see overall, everyone's moving to a check economy. Today, a fruit vendor is also selling to you by UPI.
Technically, that's also check only, na?
Absolutely.
Accounting for it.
Absolutely. So today you can buy a coconut with UPI. I mean, I don't remember last when I took my wallet. My phone's my wallet, practically. Now, cash, not all cash is bad, right? So there is accounted cash, there is unaccounted cash. Because for petty expenses, etc., you would need cash on a day-to-day basis. What is happening is one needs to understand where is the cash getting used. So if there is a particular usage for cash, then only one would want to raise certain amount of cash.
Correct.
If the usage is not there, then why would I need the cash? Because today my bankers are making me write that I need to sell a flat at this particular price because they are underwriting the price. They would not give me a sale NOC if I'm not selling, if I'm not selling at that price or higher. If I'm
so there's no reason for any cash component now.
And for one, if I'm declaring more profits, if I'm showing better strength, my company is getting better credit rating. So I will get, capital at a lesser rate. Of course, every industry historically, real estate was known to be a cash parking business. So, and a lot of other businesses for that matter, infrastructure, even a gym business, for example, is considered somewhere one enters into converting, or a cinema business, one considers entering to launder.
Or even restaurant business.
Or restaurant business. So, one has a lot of flexibility in terms why only do a real estate. The less complicated businesses available, or even simple, go to Dubai. And I think today the laundry of the world is Dubai. I mean, what Switzerland was 20 years back.
Yeah.
Today's Dubai, for Dubai, cash and check is the same. I mean, money is money, as simple as that. So you have so many options available. Why would you want to get into a complicated scenario like real estate? But at the same time, one should understand that there is certain utility in a project cost where cash is required, and which is exactly where that comes into play. But my sense is, if I compare 2 decades down, we would have eliminated cash by 70-80% at least.
You said that we have corporate houses, institutional developers coming in, and then you have a family business like yours. how do you think is a marriage between a corporate brand XYZ and a homegrown brand, a local brand like M Reality?
So, there are two things. Luckily, Bombay offers enough for everyone. So, you have layouts which are as small as 300 meters, 600 meters, 800 meters, 1500 meters, which a corporate house would not even want to look at. And they all need development. They all need customized, bespoke solutions. They are at ultra premium locations. And they need reconstruction. So that is one play which is monopolized for smaller developers or family offices, so to say. The second play is, and real estate in Mumbai is very different from how real estate is in rest of the country, in a way that a lot of time is spent in liaison, in approvals, in clearing up the title, the landlord, society, tenant issues. And that has become the forte of a typical Mumbai developer. What the developers, which are corporate houses or developers from other parts of the country with relatively strong balance sheets, offer is extremely good professional execution. They can really build fast, they can sell fast, they can raise money cheap. Now, this is where the synergies come into picture. So if you have a large layout and if you expect the corporate house to take consents, it's not going to happen. They take an off on Saturday and Sunday. The society is available on Saturday and Sunday.
That's where the local player will go.
Absolutely. So the gap, it's like a relay race, right? Even an Usain Bolt participates in a relay race, right? So I think there are synergies. Everyone has a role to play, and I think that is pretty well seen. Even large developers are tying in with another large developers.
So you're seeing a lot of collaboration.
Of course.
And so we have an Ajmera collaborating with the Rustomji.
Absolutely. So if there is synergy possible, and what is synergy? 1 + 1 is 11. So if a synergy is possible, then why not? Because today the game is so large. Earlier, say for example, you were doing a project with 2 FSI or 2.5 FSI. Today you are doing with 5.4 FSI. So in a way, the same land is producing volume of 2 projects.
Correct.
And there is enough for both to eat out of. So I don't see anything wrong. In fact, I believe the collaboration game is further going to increase.
Are you seeing more mergers happening?
Of course, 100%. I think companies are getting bought, lands are getting JV'd. So there's joint bid at the inception level. So there are large societies where certain developers are doing a collaboration with a larger.
So are they pitching into society together?
They're pitching together.
Both developers together.
Very transparent approach. And I think in a way it's good, right? Because a small developer going in, giving a crazy offer, getting the tender, and then creating a mess out of it, and then renegotiating at the back, bribing the managing committee, getting some other developer to do. I think why do all of that?
So it's like a proper marriage now, right?
Of course. I think it's a corporate strategy which is working well. And I think at the core of this entire piece is transparency. So one is providing transparency in the approach. One is going and bidding together and saying, yeah, this is my strength, this is his strength, and this is how we are doing things together.
So even for a project, you have multiple projects yourself. Do you look at yourself, you have a project, you've invested, you have all the permissions in place, and now again it's going to be a 1,000 crore project and you have to pump in another 400, 500 crore. So at that point of time, as a developer, do you think you would also like to go out and get a corporate brand? Will that corporate brand bring in more value from a brand perspective? Will there be a price jump 10% or 5% to the consumer because there is another brand coming in with M Reality? And third, is the capital going to be cheaper because the brand is bigger?
So there are 3-4 pieces, right? One, if one is doing an ego build, see, ultimately one needs to realize, project is a business where ultimately you want to optimize value.
Correct.
If you are making the most valuation, what can be done?
Correct.
I mean, you have an option of doing a branded residences also. So you say Four Seasons Home, or you say a Trump Tower, or you say Ritz.
So you already have a brand coming to it.
Absolutely. So you have a ready-made brand.
So that's one business model.
So that's a very interesting business model where you say you can work with some 60 brands. You can do a Lamborghini home. You can do
As a
Versace
developer, you can
homes.
just do that.
Of course.
Sir, I want to do that. One is a Lamborghini tower, one is a Fendi
course.
tower, and you get into that.
And I mean, you have these case studies available in Dubai. You have the FTV residences, and you know,
Dubai
all
has been
kind
following it.
Of
See,
course.
Dubai again. So there was a video which I saw. I think we both saw that video. So we deep jump dive there itself. Luxury real estate.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about branded, I think we were not ready till now. I think suddenly we are.
And you know,
So we have a Trump. We have a couple Trump towers in India.
Mumbai has seen 3 branded residences.
So we have a Trump tower.
Trump Tower, Ritz Carlton Homes, and you have
Four
the
Seasons.
Four
Four
Seasons.
Seasons.
And all 3 have done really well, to be honest. So of course you have that whole big segment of branded residences. So today, you know, if you are a developer who feels that a brand is required, then you can always do these strategic tie-ups, right? And you have brands at all segments. So you have a Versace home also, you have a Armani home. You
I
have
think
a,
I saw.
I think every element of luxury.
We'll have a Manish Malhotra home also now.
I mean, very easy, right? Very easy.
Or a Karan Johar also. I have no idea now.
So you had
The way we are moving in collaboration, anything can happen.
You had
now.
a Suzanne Khan and a Gauri Khan. You know,
They are doing
actually
it. They're
designing.
yeah.
So I think that is one part. And the way ultra luxury and luxury boom is happening, I see more of that happening.
So this is going to continue. So this luxury boom.
I think
So
it will.
wealth has been created in the country.
Of course. So, you know, our capital gain tax structures are such that it motivates people to buy these luxury apartments, because instead of paying tax, I would rather buy something. Also, you know, if I've made an X level of money, the first thing I would want to go to is upgrade my residence, upgrade my office, upgrade my cars. You know, how much would you spend on a vacation or a you know, these things, but your major investments.
So today, if I made that money and if I want to go and stay in a luxury apartment, a 5,000, 6,000 square feet in Pali Hill, it's not that I'm showing off my wealth. I want to enjoy that. It's deserving.
So I would say
want to
even a person like you know, the late Rakesh Jhunjhunwala also bought a plot ultimately and wanted to make a building, and his view was getting obstructed. So the wife actually decided to buy out.
Rekha Jhunjhunwala.
That explains how much conviction one has on real estate and how important it is. So, you know, one element is, you know, you can borrow brands, you can do tie-ups. So that is a strong option. Second, you know, there is always a call that whether you would want to do a single project of 1,000 crores or you would want to do 3 projects of 300 crores. And I believe that the second call is more prudent, because if you are doing a single project of 1,000 crores, you are putting way too much stakes into, you know, one basket. You should ideally divide the risk. But there are people who've taken the Amir Khan way also. So, you know, put it all in one basket.
Film in 3 years.
One film wonder. Yeah.
One film in 3 years.
You've seen that with Bahubali, you've seen that with Amir and a lot of other actors, right? So they want to go all out, come what may. So that is also an approach which people take, nothing wrong with it. The beauty with Mumbai real estate is everything works. And you have examples of all cases. So there's no thumb rule, so to say. The only thumb rule is that there's no thumb rule. Then the third piece is where you really decide, no, I want to go all out. I want to build it on my own. I want to create a brand for myself. It's fine. In the next 5-6 years, I don't do any other project. Pretty much also a good call. The fourth call is where you do collaborations, and you do collaborations right from the ground level. So you say that, okay, my strength is clearing the plot, getting the approvals. Your strength is building and selling this well. And also, you know, today's home buyer is very prudent. So he knows who the developer is. He knows the strength, the past track record, how much million square foot that person has executed, etc., etc. So today, if you want to get that more 10-20%, you know, on the product, it's good to have another brand which can add that value. Or you invest yourself into being a brand, but which is very optimistic if you want to do with the project to start with, because that takes time. You need to build on that, or else you do a straight tie-up. You go the Dubai model.
So there are
There's
multiple,
a platter available.
There's a platter. So
There's
you
a
said
platter.
listing itself. You said so capital is available, collaboration is available. There is a the sentiment from a consumer point of view is positive. People want to buy. Very important question. I'm sure you would have been asked this on multiple platforms. Rent or buy?
So I think
It's a still debate going on.
the mind says rent.
We still don't have the answer.
See, the mind says rent, the heart says buy, right? Because today residential apartments are available at 2.5% yield. So if you were to do a mental calculation, then you would say, I would rather put my money in FD, rent the same house.
Exactly.
But then, that's good a theory if you are a single man. If you are with your family, the first thought is that I would want to buy a house. The first
बार-बार change करना पड़ेगा.
Absolutely. Plus, real estate is also a lot with the socio-cultural context. The context in Asian countries, especially, and more so in India, is people who are on rent are not looked upon very positively. So,
So you're saying that.
Yeah, the perspective.
So all these big founders so even unicorn founders, I should not take names, but we have been told again and again that do not buy, put the money in the
I
bag.
am so sure if you dig deep.
There are two things right now.
If
do
you
not
dig
get married and do not buy a house.
So I feel if you dig deep, all these people who are saying don't buy and rent, either their parents would be owning a 100 crore home, or their spouse or some brother would be owning. Maybe on their own name it would not be there, but I don't believe. And if someone like Mr. Junjunwala eventually bought out a building and a plot, and Mr. Mani's invested so heavily, I mean, he had all the options to do things. But I think, to be very fair, owning a home is very basic. It's also prudent from a sense. Okay, you're doing well today, you have a particular flow which is coming in, but some accidental piece happens, then your home is your contingency.
Correct.
Right. So it's actually, and there was a research, right? Where is the wealth of an average Indian? So 50% of the net worth of average Indian family is the home. So I think that's the biggest.
And I think you're right. As Indians, we love to own a home.
And we are not as mobile as things are in US, right? In US, it's very common that every second year you would be in another state and another city. I mean, we are more like trees. We are very rooted.
Very rooted.
To our lanes. I mean, you would not expect a Jew guy to even go and stay in Oshiwara.
So when we were talking to Ram and the first podcast, he spoke about urbanization and he spoke about re-urbanization. So that's what's happening. So a resident of Khar is why is Khar getting redeveloped, or why is Jewski getting redeveloped? Because the resident of Jewski wants to come back in Jewski.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go to Santa Cruz.
So we are trees. We are very rooted. You can't have a Western model imposed on an Asian mentality. And trust me, if you are mobile every 2 years, then probably it made sense to rent out.
That's a small segment. So of entrepreneurs or professionals, and there again the Gen Zs or the millennials who don't want to buy a house, because for them it makes sense.
You just have to wait till they get married.
But
they will get the first.
So that's another debate, whether to get married or not to get married.
I think the biggest poster boys for buying residences are the women. If there were no women on the planet, no one would have bought homes.
So again, the irony is, if you go historically, because all real estate is all about history, historical data. We have that with us, and whenever the share market goes up, right, and where there's a lot of money made, like we spoke about Mr. Junjunwala, the late Junjunwala. So a lot of wealth which has been created by these share brokers or these in equity market eventually is pumped into real estate.
So I think real estate.
So I think it's the wrong comparison between whether should I put money into equity.
In fact, the first big money that people make, they hedge it out and they pump it out in equity. So a starter sells his company for a few 100 crores, the first thing he will do is buy a plot of land or buy a
Dipender
50
Goyal
crore
did that,
apartment.
Zomato did,
I mean,
it.
you
So-
look at the 50 crore club, these people who've bought these 50 crore homes, majority of them would have been one who would have booked the
So
stock.
both these debates are just there: buy, rent, and equity or real estate.
I would say if you're,
Both these debates are just there. It's an ongoing debate.
see, ultimately, even the person who's on rent over years in Mumbai would be owning a property elsewhere, but he would be owning for sure. Maybe in Mumbai he's on rent, but in his hometown maybe he would be owning a couple of acres of land. So I don't think as Asians we shy away from owning real estate.
So interesting. We spoke about ownership. We spoke about family values. We spoke about the way things are changing. The consumption patterns are changing. You have authored a book, which is again the new the landscape of real estate is expanding. We earlier had roti. I mean, sorry, we had a ghar, a home, a shop, an office. That was the only three asset classes which were developing. Warehousing started. It was very unorganized. So started off with organized warehousing, data centers, alternative asset classes, co-living, co-working, student housing, senior citizen. There is now a gamut of these classes. So where do you think are we going now?
So this is really,
huge opportunity.
It's fantastic because trust me, earlier real estate meant residential and residential meant real estate. So the universe was very confined.
Khali ghar banao bas.
Absolutely. Then this whole office culture came, and then you had the malls which came in. I think original high street was what niche dukan upar makan.
Exactly.
So I think that was the concept post independence, and then you had this whole shift of office and malls. I think slowly what has happened, the whole data scene exploded, and which is why the government became vigilant, and they said that India's data needs to be on India's soil. As a result, you have a boom of data centers. So today 50% of India's data centers is in MMR. So of course, because of proximity to the western coastal area, and you have many in Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore. So the pieces, data centers are here to stay. They have exploded. They will further grow because you have data guzzling apps. They will need to put all the data on Indian soil. So you'll have more and more of these data. Today, you would want the best of education for a child. I mean, today I have a young one, and I was just looking at the options. Probably what I'll be paying for a year of fees, in which I would have completed my PhD, which I've done more recently.
So she's going to the best school, obviously.
Of course. So
she should deserve the best.
Of course. So that is what. And if, for example, she's wants to go, and we are from Mumbai, so of course we think of sending kids abroad. But there are people, say from a Ranchi, from Bhubaneswar, who would want to come to Mumbai. Now, when their kids come to Mumbai, or say from Surat, they want them to stay in the best of facilities. So you have student housing as an asset class. Look at Juhu SVKM. I think it's full of student housing.
We've got a full.
It's the poster boy of student housing for the country.
Absolutely. Second road, first road, third road is now all student
housing.
housing.
With the way SVKM
buildings have been created now.
Boomed. I think so. There are buildings which are converting, and because it's a high yielding asset class.
High yielding asset.
So residential, which provided 2.5-3%,
suddenly is giving you more.
Is giving you 12%, 4x. Purely because you've done value added,
and you're providing a need which was a gap.
Absolutely. So then people realize that owning an office is a headache, maintaining it, getting it cleaned, looking after the bills, etc. So you had business center, but business centers were seeming very expensive. So you said, okay, let's do co-works, let's do flex offices. So all these models came in.
You kept evolving with the changing times.
Absolutely. Then there was this whole working professional, young crowd, not married, working in the tech space, etc., who said, we want residents also with the same ease with which our business is. So you had this whole co-living which sort of mushroom. So today there are developers who are building co-living facilities and they're able to sell to an investor who likes residential but is not happy with a 2.5%
He's
yield.
getting more yield now.
So he's getting double, say 5 to 6%. And that's possible because
so suddenly you're having a revenue generating asset has been created now.
Absolutely.
Where investment is coming in.
Absolutely. So value added real estate is what I call as alternative real estate. And then suddenly you had this whole Instamart, Zepto, Blinkit boom which happened, which was primarily that instead of going shop to shop and speaking with so many shopkeepers and ordering stuff, why can't I have it in the next 10 to 15 minutes whenever I want?
So I will say this, Harshul, when this 10-15 minute delivery came up, I was not in favor of that. I said it's stupid. If I have to buy something, I can wait for 30 minutes. But I'm surprised, I'm myself using Insta.
So as we are evolving, we are going more and more lazy and we are putting every piece to tech. So I think today, if on a click of a button, if I can get something.
No, actually I wait कि 10 minute बोले तो 10 minute में आएगा कि नहीं आएगा.
Exactly.
So we are getting habitual to it now.
We are very habitual to it. I mean, people are preferring to watch
Swiggy
content on OTT. They don't want to take the efforts of going to the cinema. People don't want to go to restaurants. People want to actually order food home. So which is why these companies are growing. I mean, recently I heard that Swiggy is coming out with a mega IPO, and these are concepts which will only grow. So the perspective is, what will all these require? These will require alternative real estate. A Swiggy will require a contact point, go down, or a dark house.
A dark house.
Where they will...
Dark store.
Absolutely. Because where they will have to have these, you will need chain restaurants, you will need cloud kitchens, which can cater to all these restaurants, etc. So all of this real estate requirement is something which was not there 10 years back.
So even from a residence point of view, from a home point of view, now you'll have a room separate for a home theater.
Absolutely.
Because then you want to call your friends, you want to watch a cricket match.
Absolutely.
So the home sizes, so this is now explaining that why these luxury homes are being sold.
Exactly.
Because there's a demand.
You've realized that you can pause when you want, you can go back when you want, you can fast track. You don't like these songs, so you can just skip 30 minutes of songs.
And if you talk about, look at furniture.
Absolutely.
I was at the IKEA store.
I'll tell you a very funny part. Someone bought a home which was not as expensive as the cost of the interior. So today, good quality interior costs you about 10,000 to 15,000 rupees a foot.
Stanley, I went to buy sofa. So I think that this is where the premiumization is happening.
Absolutely.
You want to have the best sofa. You want to have the best equipment. So we are moving towards premiumization.
It's today it's very normal for someone to spend 10,000 to 15,000 rupees on a luxury apartment for interiors, and he's probably bought that at 40,000. So effectively 25% to 30% is just going towards interior. And probably if someone's buying a 4,000 square foot, 5,000 square foot home, he might have to sell his old home, which would be 1,000 square foot, to just pay for the interiors. So I think we are all on the loop of YOLO. You only live once. I think post-pandemic, that is the behavior change which has happened. We are saying, I don't want to save. Correct. Let's spend, let's live the moment, let's experience what we have. This whole concept of saving is sort of going out. And also a lot of reason for that is nuclear families. Because if you are staying in a joint family setup, it also meant that if you want to buy one car, it meant it wasn't one car, you had to buy 3 cars, because then there are 3 kids. So here, and there was control, right? The elders imposed, but that restriction is out. So it's the liberalization of the average Indian family.
Correct. So these are all changes happening. Developers are adapting to these changes. Very important thing which we started the discussion also is about research. Indians per se, from across industries, we don't put in a lot of money in research, right? It's a herd mentality. What A has done, we just follow it. Do you think now research is playing, and you are heading the research?
So I'll tell you very interesting about research. I mean, there are FMCG companies like HUL, PNG. if they want to launch a shampoo brand, they would invest at least 30 to 50 crores just understanding what should be the fragrance, what should be the feel, what should be the thickness, what should be the bottle shape, how should the packaging look like, what should be the brand called as, etc., etc. So that market research was a big element for a shampoo bottle which would sell for 200 rupees.
Correct.
Today, what real estate research earlier was calling up 4 or 5 developer friends that what do you think I'm thinking of? I've got this land. I've already got this land.
I've got a land.
Now what do you think I should do with this?
And it actually makes only 4 calls.
4 calls. And he would say 2 BHK will work, 3 BHK.
ठीक है और प्राइस भी मैं 20,000 में बोल रहा हूँ 22 खोल दे यार.
At best, if he has a little more depth, he would call more 3-4 brokers of that area who would say, I'm confident.
बनाओ 2 bedroom बनाओ.
Right. And if he's more detail oriented, he will ask his design architect, what do you feel?
Correct.
Now design architect will give his view. So you have called 3 stakeholders and that is your research, and now you are planning a multi-crore product basis 10 phone calls that you've made.
Correct.
So that is how the industry operated. Why? Because it was only location.
And I think it was आप जो बना रहे थे वो बिक रहा था, right?
Because all that was cared for is one, I'm getting a home. Second, I'm getting at a premium location. I would rather prefer to stay in an average building on a good location than in an excellent building on an average location. Correct. That was the thought process.
Correct. From a buyer's perspective.
Now, what has happened over time is people are very particular about product. So people are now buying a product. They are buying a home. They are not buying a house. They are not buying 4 walls.
They're buying a lifestyle.
They are buying a lifestyle. They are buying a quality of life. They are buying to upgrade the standard of living.
So a swimming pool, a health club makes a difference.
Exactly. So now, what is the floor to ceiling height?
Makes a difference.
Is a question. What is, do you have dry areas? Is a question.
They ask you as a developer, does a consumer come and ask you? A buyer ask you?
Is there a balcony?
Is there a balcony?
What is the height of the lobby? How big is the lobby? Where is the gym placed? What are the green building features that you?
They actually ask. These are the customers asking this.
They have a checklist.
They have a
checklist.
They come with a checklist.
They are well researched. Which means what? Now you have to back work and
so you have an informed buyer now.
You have a very informed buyer.
Now you can't screw
How is your parking? Is your parking with ramp? Is your parking with podiums?
Will my Range Rover fit or not?
Yeah. How much tonnage is your car lift? Will my Maybach fit in or not? Right. So
correct.
Stuff like, will my Fortuner fit? Will my Thar?
Do I have a maid? Do I have a room for my maid?
Yeah. Is there forget a room. Is there a pantry for the maid? Is there a separate toilet?
Super luxury now.
Right. Do the watchmen have their clean area, or will they be roaming around?
Very interesting.
Where is the driver's rest area, or will they be playing cards when I'm stepping in? So stuff like that. And this I'm saying is an average 10 crore home buyer also asking all these questions, right? It is like the Creta car, right? You compare the Creta car 5 years before to
even the car has evolved.
Today's Creta car has features of a Mercedes. So it's the only thing constant is Creta. Correct. Except that if you sit inside, you can get confused whether you're sitting in a Merc or a Hyundai car.
A 9-10 lakh rupees Creta 5 years back today is costing 21 lakhs. The features have been upgraded.
All, like, you could find in a average C-class Merc, right? Now, what has happened, this has forced, see, if I have a demanding consumer, I will automatically factor that in and do research. So hence, also, there's a whole data boom. So now you have RERA data, which is available. You have registered documents available. So today, if I'm at a particular location, even before buying the land, I can know at what prices the stock is selling by just saying that around 500 meters, what is the market. Whether
so a lot of information is there with you as a developer.
And there are data analytics companies which are
there are companies doing that
for a basic fee, right? Companies like CRE Matrix, Lysis Forest, Prop Equity, they're also giving out free reports
Credai does that.
Credai does that very regularly, right, with tie-ups with these companies. Second, what is happening is once you've bought a land, so even if you want to know the best use of the land, should I do a niche dukan upar makan? Should I do pure makan? If I'm doing makan, what size of configuration should I do? Should I do 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom?
So let's do this.
Should
This
I
is
do
very
office?
interesting, Harshul.
Yeah.
Let's start from here. That right from land, let's take this discussion, and I think this is going to be wonderful. Just as you said a few years back, or how many years back, we used to only make those 4 or 5 calls. You know, I used to get calls कि भाई आपका मैं 4 बेडरूम बना रहा हूँ, अभी तक 3 बेडरूम बिक रहे थे, चलेगा क्या 4 बेडरूम, कितने में बिकेगा? So there was a normal call as a broker. I used to receive those calls from brokers and big brokers, not just kind of a small broker. The whole thing has changed. So we spoke about data available, we've got market intelligence company available. So now you have a land, and now you're saying that there is going to be a lot of research which is available to the developer
Even for the best use of the land.
for the best use of the of the land.
Should I do office space? Should I create
So
a mall?
maximize the potential or optimize the potential.
Absolutely. So
So is this happening right now?
it's absolutely happening.
Is there the demand for that?
Absolutely. So, for example, there is a listed developer in BKC who decided that there's so much residential, there's so much commercial that is happening that I'm going to do ultra luxury residential.
Sunteck.
Absolutely. So the idea was,
And they sold at one of the highest prices.
exactly. So the best use of the
Aishwarya
land.
Rai and Sonam Kapoor both have bought houses there.
So
I would
the-
have never thought of
Exactly. So the research was that there's so much commercial that the CXOs over here are going to need ultra luxury premium.
And so that's another thing, right? He's with all due respect, he's done a fantastic job. The Suntech. So with the research, so research backed project, then you have to deliver.
Exactly. Then
That's where the fun is.
exactly. The second bit was, I'll tell you, another developer said, well, there are office spaces, there are residences, but how about me pulling up a hotel over here?
What are you saying?
Because all these residences and these offices,
They will
need,
require,
a premium hotel. Then someone said, how about pulling up a nice high street of F&B, ultra luxury restaurants where an average billing
So
is
you are-
2,000 rupees.
So you are actually defining how BKC was made.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you have a Sofitel, you have a Trident.
Exactly.
Sofitel is owned by Jayesh Bhai,
You have-
a developer.
You have luxury restaurants and F&B where you pay even say 4,000 rupee for a person to have a meal. So someone envisaged that something like this is gonna work over here. Why? Because it's research based. You have a CXO level meeting or you have a VP meeting and you want to have a nice business lunch, but you don't want the hassle of ordering every time. The guy comes, you will ask, what do you like? So you're wasting time there. So you rather go for a set menu. So now you have 3-4 restaurants in BKC which is offering set menu, and especially they do it for the lunch. Why? Because there are
Saving
these,
time now.
Exactly. The whole idea was, and they give you in very interesting portions, but very small size. So your focus can be more around that experience. You can have the meeting and at the same time have a lunch oriented piece, right? So the idea is that someone's doing this research about what mix is required where.
Which was not earlier required.
Absolutely.
Today is required. The cost has gone up.
Absolutely.
What else do you think is now research? So one, we have an potential development which is being researched.
Then
What
second
else is going to go
I'll
now
tell you,
beyond that?
From marketing perspective, earlier it all meant was I would pull out a front page ad of my project, book a few jackets with Times of India,
और दो होर्डिंग ले ली मैंने
and I'm done.
और होर्डिंग ले ली
And
हो
I
गया.
buy a few hoardings and I'm done. That's my marketing campaign.
Correct.
I think every big developer has done that.
Right.
And Times made a lot of money on
Correct.
that. Right.
They-
All these jackets.
They have a separate division, by the way. But they've done now. They do brand capital
Exactly.
now. So they do
Now,
equity with the developer.
exactly. So they even got flats and
They
stuff
got even
like that.
flats now.
Right. Now, the game changed, right? Because the device that you hold on your hand is the biggest marketing piece that is
Correct.
required, because that has your maximum attention, whether you're on the gram, you're on the Twitter, you're on the LinkedIn, on the WhatsApp.
You're on the phone always.
Exactly. So how you can probably grab the eyeball from there became the game. The newspaper, I don't get newspaper at my home. So I think most of the people have stopped getting newspapers at their home. So that game's out completely.
So complete shift to the digital now.
Absolutely. I think hoardings is mainly for movies only or OTT platform. You don't see a lot of projects.
Except for
really
when we do exhibitions, we do that.
Exactly.
That's the only thing. Kredai and Naredko, we have those few hoardings.
Expose
and all.
And now your hoardings are also changing. They are becoming more like TVs. So you have multimedia that can be played over
digital
there. Right. So now if I want to design my marketing campaign, so if I'm doing a project in say Juhu, I would want to know that where are the consumers of a product in Juhu coming from? Are these consumers coming from Santa Cruz? Are they coming from Oshiwara? Are they coming from Borivali? Are they coming from Marine Lines?
And this is happening because digital provides that analytics.
So the data analytics will tell you that if 1,000 flats were sold in Juhu, where did the buyers come in from? Because remember, in your registered agreement, you put your Aadhaar card, PAN card, your existing address, etc.
So a lot of data is being there.
Absolutely.
It's available.
Yeah. So are the Shahs buying in Juhu? Are the Agarwals buying in Juhu? Who exactly are buying? So you can even go as granular as.
So this is a lot of research happening now.
Exactly.
As we talk, this is what's been done.
Exactly. And this is in news, right? So now, earlier commerce meant what? BCom. Today commerce means BCom, BMS, BBI, BMM, 10 other courses they would have added. So now you have options. So similarly in marketing, it just doesn't mean doing a jacket and doing a hoarding. Now you have some 20 options which are available.
Influencer marketing, experiential marketing,
all kind
digital
of
media marketing.
Right.
It goes on and on.
Within influencers also you have all categories.
All kind of categories.
So, depending on the kind of edutainment that you
celebrity endorsement ho gaya, engagement ho gaya.
So you can now use research to tailor make the content marketing that you need, right? So for marketing campaigns, research is used. What is the third use of research? Well, okay, I know that in this area a 4 BHK works, but a 4 BHK of 1,000 square foot,
size also now,
1,500 square foot, 2,000 square foot, 2,500 square foot. So when a 2 BHK can be made for 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, 1,200 also. So what kind and configuration and type is required is something research will tell me. So if I make, for example, in a location where 4 BHKs are selling, if I made a product of 2 and 3 bedroom, I'm doomed.
So mismatch of
product. So to address that, research is important. So I think research is getting used at so many multiple levels.
So you have land, so you decide what is the project going to be. You have the marketing.
Firstly, whether I should buy the land or not. So
Harshul, amazing insights.
Thank you.
We all know that the real estate industry is growing, huge potential. There's 19 books which you have. I don't think one episode, my friends, is enough for me to have a conversation with Harshul. We will have to come back. So I will have to invite you.
Absolutely.
Second time. And I don't know, we might again create some new record with number of degrees you have and the number of books you have written. Perhaps for the first time ever, the hashtag show will have a mini series featuring Dr. Advocate Harshul Savla. On that note, I would want to again thank you. And as I said, that you are a fountain of wisdom, knowledge, with doing work. So there are always two parts, Harshul. We have this a ज्ञान जो ज्ञान देता है और एक जो करता है. So in your case, you are educating, you're giving information, you're a developer, and I know your journey has just started as a developer. So you're going to be building more landmark buildings. Looking forward to working with you together. Again, very insightful. We will have to call you again, and I think I will perhaps very soon probably announce the hashtag show, a mini series with Harshul Savla. So looking forward to host you again and again, at least for one more episode. If required, we'll do 3 or 4. So we'll have a mini series with you.
Pleasure.
And keep giving us all the information. keep inspiring us and enlightening us. And this very happy to be part of this journey of the way the Indian real estate industry is going. And with friends like you, it's making us more interesting. Thank you,
Thank you.
Harshul, and we're looking forward again hosting you for the next episode. Thank you,
Thanks.
Harshul.